Good morning, guys. I hope all is well. All is well with Mr. Reed. Um, all is well with Mr. Reed. I hope everything is well with you. I wanted to communicate with you this morning and just talk about some things. I am live on our Community Read um, YouTube, and I am live on our on my TikTok. And I hope everything is well. I hope everything is going great. Um, those of you who's wondering when I'm getting a haircut, I am getting a haircut. Even my wife says get a haircut, so I guess I'll be getting a haircut this week. Right? I've just been working so hard, and when I focus on something, I don't concern myself with stuff like that. Um, I want to talk about something that I believe needs to be addressed. Okay, and some of you will remember me talking about this in the past. I had one of my mentees tell me the other day, he said, Mr. Reed, I remember you telling me over and over and over to always uh, evaluate myself. Um, Self evaluation, not over self evaluation, because over self evaluation could turn into judgment of oneself. But self evaluation is extremely important. Extremely important. I gave an analogy to one of my mentees the other day. I said, could a mouse tell an elephant where to sit? And he started to laugh. I said, that sounds funny, but is it not a good evaluation? He's like, well, based on what you're talking about. I said, well, listen. I said, I wouldn't call um, let me give you a closer example to me. Um, I had an investor that was probably worth $1 billion. He had that's not figurative. Well, actually, it was two of them. Actually, it was three of them. Three billionaires. Okay, and not billionaires in company stock. I'm talking about billionaires in revenue and capital. Okay, so in reality, they were more than billionaires. They were probably, worth 100. You know, if you understand how money works. So in any event, um, I remember sitting in a room with these guys. Um, and they had employees that worked for them. And I remember one of the employees didn't like me. And the main reason he didn't like me is because I didn't address his boss, or more importantly, he couldn't address his boss like I did. Okay. I remember him telling me once that, you know, I'm not going to say that online, but long and short, he felt like I didn't address his boss with the level of respect, or let's use the correct vernacular or word, fear. Okay. I was raised in the hood. One thing the hood teaches you that is good is never fear any man. Every man is just a man. Okay. One of the things you learn in the hood too is strength and weakness. One of the things you learn in the hood is strength and weakness. Okay. You know who's strong and you know who's weak. And that means mentally, psychologically, physically, whatever's in the hood is going to be revealed. Right? It's not like the business world or normal society. The hood is like the jungle, right? And I hear a lot of guys, dispute that, but okay. One of the things you learn is that everyone in the hood is not a beast. I wasn't a beast, okay? Or at least I didn't think I was. But when I left the hood and started moving in the civil world, they began to look at me like I was a beast. Because I learned certain attributes in the hood that allowed me to conduct myself a certain way in business and in normal social environments, right? Now, there are some, just like there's politics in the hood, there's politics everywhere else. So when you're doing business, if you don't know if you're a beast, if you don't know if you're, you know, a savant, a tool, some of us are just tools. And some of us are different things at different points in our lives. See, we begin to think we're all bosses. No, if you got a boss, you're not a boss. If you got a boss, you're not a boss. It's simple as that. Now, we all work with someone. And I am not denying that you can't be successful working at a job. What I am saying is this. If you don't have your own thoughts, bring your own value, and have some form of strategic relationship with where you are and what you're doing with your value, then you're not a boss. You're not a boss. You're just a high level whatever you're doing, right? Here's my point. This is what I find with a lot of people today. They think more highly of themselves than they should. They think more highly of themselves than they should. Well, I don't understand, but I need to explain this to you. Capacity is not a tool for success. Or dare I say this, capacity is not an attribute of success. I'm going to go even further. Capacity untapped has nothing to do with success. They're not cousins. They're not even close to one another. Some of you who think, and here's the thing about it, if it's only self-evaluated capacity, it's no capacity at all. In other words, if you say to yourself, I'm a genius, and nobody agrees with you, guess what? Guess what? If you say to yourself, hey man, I'm the smartest person in my company, if your check does not say that, then that's not true. You may be the more educated. You may be the more skilled, but you're definitely not the smartest. You know why? Because somebody has figured out how to pull more money out of that company than you are. You have. I have had this problem for a long time. I had a problem with people that can't even communicate thinking they're smart. Because here's the thing about it. I'm not saying you don't have capacity, but remember, capacity is not a necessity if it's only self-evaluated. Capacity is only beneficial to somebody who will pay you for it. You can't look at yourself, hey, look, I would pay myself $1 million, but will anyone else? And this is what I need you to understand. You have to evaluate yourself appropriately to understand success. I'm writing a book right now. And a lot of what I'm telling you guys right now is in there. A lot of it. I'm writing another book And it speaks to tools for success. But it also speaks to people indirectly evaluating their capacity. Listen, when I go places, I don't talk a lot. I just don't. Well, honestly, I don't talk at all. Okay. And people assume that because I don't, they think I don't know a bunch of popular people. They think, oh, he's just, a guy that, blah, blah, right? I'm not. But here's the important part. Who I know has nothing to do with me. Who I know has nothing to do with me. What I know and how I can perform is what's important. What I know and how I can perform is what's important. It's two things that'll cause you to lose important friends, okay? And remember, important friends aren't like general friends. They're not really your friend. They're only your friend based on a perspective of who they think you are. So if people believe you have money, that's the only reason they're your friend. Now, some of you will find that hard to believe, but okay. You're not only not evaluating yourself correctly, you're not evaluating your surroundings correctly. People indulge in you because of what you bring to them, whether you make them laugh, whatever capacity you have. That's why that's even the reason people want to meet you. When someone sees you, what attracts you to them is what they require. Does that make sense to anybody? When someone sees you, what attracts them to you is what they require. It's a need in them. Always know that. When you pretend like you don't know that, so look, guys, when you're hitting on a woman and she don't like you, that's because she don't need you. Now, here is how I've been for probably 30 years. If I don't need you, I'm not talking to you. But here is the difference. I either want to do something with you, make money with you, or pay you. That's the difference. You don't want to be around a bunch of users. And nobody uses people more than people you think got money. If you don't believe me, ask anybody who's been around people with money. People with money will use the fuck out of you. They want you to do everything for free. And here's what you say the moment, because you think you're going to get some notoriety out of it. Well, if you believe you're going to get some notoriety out of it, put it on paper. Hey, I know you said you'd market this if I did it. Can you put that on paper that you'll do that? If they say no, there's nothing to talk about. There is negotiated value because, again, you got to understand, people have more value than you. And some people, you have more value to them. We're not talking about to God. Thank you, Father. But we're not talking about God to God. So some of you are like, nobody's more important than me. Yes, they are. They shouldn't be to you. But in society or a bank or an investment or something you need, they are. Remember, all relationships are built on need. All relationships are built on need. So if, let's say you're in a relationship with a man or a woman, and they no longer feel like they need you, what happens? They leave. Sometimes they leave prematurely, which is normally what happens, but they leave. There needs to be a requirement in you for that person. You guys can keep believing whatever you want. We all come together and we just want to serve Jesus. And that's not reality. That's what you're told and that's what you tell yourself. But that's not a reality. Everybody you deal with in your life has a necessity to you. Women are better at hiding it than men are. Okay? A woman will use you to get through law school and then already know the man they're going to be with. I'm telling you, strategy. So you better wake up. You better wake up. You're not state of the art. You got to correctly evaluate yourself wherever you are in life. Don't run from you. If you only make $100,000 a year, only make $100,000 a year. Now, that doesn't mean that's all you can make, because some women see a man and say, man, you know what? There are situations where I was dating a girl that worked for a subcontractor. And I would get work from that subcontractor for that girl working there. Women ain't crazy. Well, smart women ain't crazy. She was like, man, I know Juan can do this work. I like Juan. I like the way he look. I like the way he this, that, and the other. Let me get him some work. She knew they wasn't going to help me. So she helped me. She got what she wanted. I got what I wanted. She got to date the guy she wanted, go out, and I had the money she needed me to have. Everything is a negotiation. I say this a lot. The guy that helped me write these books, this is what he did. And for those who are smart, who want to get to know me, what he did is he hit me up in my DM. And he kept hitting me up in my DM. And he said to me, Mr. Reed, I love the stuff you say, blah, blah, this and so. And every once in a while, I go online and I look for a particular person to do some work, right? And I was willing to pay him for the work. He told me, if you mentor me, Mr. Reed, I will help you write these books for free. And then I asked him a question. I said, have you ever written a book? The way he responded to me let me know something about it. He said, no, sir, I haven't. But he said, it can't be too hard. I guess he said to himself, if you've never written a book and you're willing to write a book, right, about your life and about your experiences and even about the tools you use, then I can figure out how to help you edit it. And over a long time, I think it took us about 6 months, right? But over about 6 months, we developed a process. But I told this young man, I said, man, you understand negotiation. You understand negotiation. Anybody who's ever listened to me, I've been saying this for years, learn how to negotiate. When somebody offers you a price that you know you can't pay, say, hey, look, man, I got this though. Never just negotiate twice, 3 times if you have to, but negotiate. You got something of value. And now me and this young man, all the books that are in me, he's editing all of them. Okay? Never edited a book in his life. Obviously, he's a smart guy, but the thing about it is we put together, we're going to put out 5 books by the end of the first quarter 2026. So we already got 2 out right now, From Poverty to Purpose and Black Manifest Destiny, which is an amazing book. But this guy learned how to negotiate. You got to know how to negotiate. You can't just, walk away. But that's knowing your value. Who am I? Okay, I want what Mr. Reed has. Okay? I'll tell you something else this guy did. Mentoring somebody is different than coaching. And I've told you guys this before. Thank you, Teddy. And mentoring, you can't help but get close to people. Coaching is like, hey, walk over here, do this, that. That's coaching. Mentoring is how's your wife? How are your kids? In other words, I'm helping you with the totality of your life. And it's something you believe that is in me that can help you do it. Okay. And in doing that, you get to know one another. So you have access to the person. Okay. And he asked me, because I was telling him about a relationship I had. And he asked me, hey, how does somebody like that become who they are? I said, okay. See, when you know how to negotiate, you have access to things everybody don't have. So he asked me about this politician I know. And I said, how did he become who he is? See, you begin to ask the right questions when you're around the right people because you start to build the right fence. What is a fence? Anybody who's bought my book, this one, understands what a fence is. Understands what a fence is. A fence is a group of processes, mandates, and people that keep the good parts of you in and protect you from the bad things of the world. That can come a lot of ways, in a lot of forms. That can come into communicating to you, hey, watch out, there's a step right there. And I mean that metaphorically. But it's the people, processes, and mandates you put in your life to support yourself. And if we're honest, we're not raised with these things. Most of us aren't raised with the right processes and people in our lives. I know I wasn't. I was raised with a bunch of hood ass aunts and uncles. I was raised with a family that would rather say stuff negative about you than positive. I was introduced to my father didn't teach me anything, even though he's probably the greatest father I've ever met. He wasn't a teacher like I am. I don't even want to talk about the other parents. It was that bad. The step Negro that was put in my life was ridiculous. He was the most adolescent human that I've met to date, right? People aren't complicated. Stop listening to that. People aren't complicated. People just like their mess. People are not complicated. They like their mess. I lived with somebody for a long time that liked their mess and didn't want you to mess with their mess. They like bringing things in their lives that cause a mess. Internally, intellectually, mentally, socially, And I think for a while I was like that too. And I think I've overcorrected because I am so protective of me. I'm very protective of me. I could literally live in the house with somebody and never talk to them, like ever, until they want to talk about something that brings peace. You understand? And you have to understand me. I'm a man that has handled great adversity, overcome great adversity, and can handle a lot of adversity, excuse me. But I'm not inviting it in my life. There's enough adversity in existence already. So when I walk in a room and I don't want to know somebody, I look at them like, I don't want to know you, bro. I'll even tell you if you continue. Look, brother, I don't want to know you. Now you can eat it however you know, you swallow it, but I don't want to know you. And some of you have to become like that. You have to protect your sanity, your spirit, your peace. To use a Bible verse, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. Guard your heart. This goes to the heart. If somebody put a bunch of mess here, it's going here. Whether it's if it's your mother, your father, your cousins, your ex-best friends, your co-workers, whoever it is, remove it. Do you know why some people become addicted to work? Because work in its purest form is simple. All I have to do is do it, and they pay me for it. But let's be honest, most of us can't just do that. We're social people. And unfortunately, until you make a certain amount of money, you don't choose who you socialize with. You understand? So you have to learn how to tolerate people, but you also have to learn how to communicate to people directly. In other words, something that most of you are not good with. You have to learn to deal with conflict. You have to learn to deal with conflict. What is conflict? Okay, let me give you an example. I go to a really nice gym. I like EOS. There's an EOS that opened probably 15 miles from my house. But there's a lot of ex-hood people there. Okay, what do I mean by that? Cats that probably didn't go to prison, but passed through there, right? They work decent jobs, so they live in a nice neighborhood. They listen to a lot of rap music and all that. And you say, well, why do you say that? I say that because I don't. I haven't. So people who, let's just be honest. All of us, let's be honest, okay? We got to be honest. Men like conflict. They just do. They like confrontation because they're always attempting to prove themselves, specifically young men. But I don't even think it's that it's just young men. I think it's men in general. And so when you're in environments like that, you have to conduct yourself different than you conduct yourself around more sophisticated people. I think you understand what I'm saying. And so you have to learn to have internal peace in tumultuous situations. See, a lot of you think tumult is just trees flying around. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Most of the tumultuous situations we find ourselves in are other people's internal battles that spill over onto us or attempt to spill over onto us. And when that happens, again, what we're talking about is conflict. You have to be abrupt. You have to be abrupt. Some of you believe, okay, that I might get into a fist fight. No, you're not. No, you're not. Your abruptness doesn't always have to be loud, doesn't always have to be aggressive, but it does need to meet the moment in which you're in. Does that make sense? It has to meet the moment. If you're going to safeguard your mind and your heart, you have to learn to deal with conflict. Let me give you an example. I have a lot of people that don't like me. Okay. Not I'm not going to explain that to you because, in all honesty, I've learned in the world if too many people like you, then I'm weary of you. My opinion. The way I look at people is why they don't like you. That's the way I look at it. So here's what happens. I siphon people. I siphon people. So I could know you for 5 years. If it hadn't gone anywhere, I don't have no need for you no more. In other words, if I hadn't made any money with you, there's nothing for us to talk about. If you hadn't changed my life in some way, if there's no evolutionary information, there are some people literally, and y'all know who I'm talking about. When you get with them, every time y'all talk is something life-changing. You like, damn, really? Every time you talk to them. I've had at least 2 or 3 friends in my life, Everett Mitchell and my brother Malcolm. Every time I talk to them, I'm like, God, are you serious, bro? Either something profound comes from them or it comes from me, right? Most relationships aren't like that. Most relationships, you just have people circling your life for no reason at all. See, at one time, you could just stop speaking to them. Hey, look, man, you go from standing there and talking, and then when they leave, your woman like, who is that? To just doing this. Well, I don't even do that anymore. So what happens is people know that about me. If I don't fuck with you, I'm just going to look at you and look away. But don't come talk to me. Because then, you causing conflict. If somebody doesn't like you, leave them alone. Leave them alone. So it's not that I don't like anybody. It's that they don't like me. But I'm not going to play with somebody that don't like me. You understand? That's just who I am. So this guy, I'm in the restaurant, and this guy comes over that don't like me. I do this. He feels offended. So he keep coming over. So I'm sitting with my woman. I politely, stand up, and I say, look, man, I told you not to come over here. I have no interest in talking. And I just looked at him. I said, do me a favor. We don't speak the same language. Let's just stay away from each other. He kind of and walked away. But you didn't even have to do all that. Here's my point. I will never see him again, probably, and good riddance. See, that's somebody I don't have to deal with anymore. Now, talking about it and talking about him is a waste of time. But my point is, you have people in your life like that you won't get rid of. You keep entertaining people that don't evolve you. Let me tell anybody who say they're a Christian on here, I'm not a Christian. I need y'all to know I'm not a Christian. I do not follow the Christian religion. I don't follow any religion. I follow God. But here's the thing about it. This is a absolute that I've learned. If 2 people that are full of the Holy Spirit are in communication with each other, every conversation they have going to be different. And anyone who is really, I can't say if you're really part of your religion, because you have to remember the Holy Spirit is not part of any religion. Okay? So you can't adopt the Holy Spirit. You can call him by a different name, but you can't adopt it. That being said, listen, I have never been involved with anybody that was full of the Holy Spirit that every conversation we had wasn't different, that I didn't get something from it, ever. So could you imagine being involved in a bunch of conversations, relationships with people, I ain't getting nothing out of it? See, you have to know me, because some of y'all think I'm playing online. I'm not. This is who I am. If one of you ever met my wife in person, Is Mr. Reed not talk like that ever? No. You can ask anyone who was ever even my ex. So when people say, man, you fake, you this, that, I'm telling you, this is who I am. I don't know how to talk without being encouraging. I don't want to say motivational because I don't know how to communicate without mitigating. Not managing, because you don't manage people's lives. You take things apart. You pull from. You dissect. I've even become accustomed with people judging me. Let me give you an example. Well, I'm not going to give that example. It's a waste of time. My point is, in all of this, is know who you are. Look at your feet. Look at your hands. Know who you are. Don't let anybody tell you who you are. But at the same time, never misrepresent yourself. And I'm not talking about lying. I'm talking about thinking you are more or less than what you really are. Because if you want to believe you less, there are a lot of people that would agree with you. If you want to believe you less, there's a lot of people that will agree with you. Here's another thing I would say. If any of you are lucky enough to have a mentor in your life, okay, until you have what they have, not just externally, but internally, don't think you better than them. Some of y'all be jumping up and saying hallelujah. Until you have what they have, not only externally, but internally, don't start to compete with them. Again, the mouse versus the elephant. The mouse isn't worried about stepping on the elephant. I mean, the elephant isn't worried about stepping on the mouse. See, y'all, does anybody remember that story? The mouse is trying to harm the elephant, but he ain't got to worry about that. We don't have to ask why. We know why. There's an old saying, the elephant in the room. Do y'all know what that means? Luna, do you know what that means? Sharice, do you know what that means? The elephant in the room. Does anybody know what that means? What is that a metaphor for? My point is, you better recognize who the elephant in the room is in all your relationships in life. Know who the elephant in the room is. I've been in rooms where people were trying to get an investment from me and acting arrogant. And I'm like, is this motherfucker crazy? But a lot of y'all talk that. Y'all read this book that says, arrogance is confidence. No, it ain't. Let me tell you guys something. All you young people that listen, let me tell you something. Confidence is equal grounded, equal respect. Whenever somebody disrespects somebody on purpose, that person isn't confident. And the other person is, and they're drawing something out of that person. They're making them feel some kind of way. How do I know that? You got to read the book. When I was a young man and lacked confidence, this is the conclusion I had to come to. Are they causing my anxiety, or is something about them provoking my anxiety? Now listen, Marcus, listen to what I'm saying. Are they causing my anxiety, or is something about them a good thing, provoking my anxiety? Some of you get aggravated, some women and men. But some of you ladies get aggravated or because somebody provokes your anxiety. I'm gonna tell you to do what I did. This is what I did, ladies and gentlemen. I started taking responsibility for my own anxiety. And when I started analyzing that anxiety, it took me back to my history and all those years of living under a regime of fear. That's where my anxiety came from. So even if the person was trying to act toward me aggressively, well, I'm 250 pounds. I know how to fight, and I'm strong as a fucking ox. You see how I just did that? Our anxiety is caused from something past. We call it trauma. Other people are not the cause. The new people in your life are not the cause of your anxiety. Your anxiety just exists. So don't blame them for it. I get it. You know, it's funny, but it's like Dame Dash said on that clip that they keep showing. You triggering me. What he's saying is, hey, bro, you're not causing my anxiety. It's already there. But you provoking it. Some people aren't even provoking our anxiety, Cherry. So it's not their fault. Don't hold them responsible for what exists in you. Deal with it. Deal with it. There's a point where you got to start looking people in the eye because they got to see who you are. It ain't their fault you scared to look them in the eye. Now, I don't like all this shit. I don't like when people stare at me like that. I say, what are you staring at, man? You do know that don't mean nothing, right? That don't mean you can whoop me. That don't mean anything. That just means you staring in my face. I'm not talking about them kind of people. I'm talking about people that are just being normal. See, people with anxiety believe normal people are weird. A letter, son. They might just like you. I don't even mean like you in any kind of way. They might just like you. That's why it's important to read From Poverty to Purpose, because it talks about me dealing with my anxiety. And the first aspect of me dealing with my anxiety was building another fence, building it with a group of people that like me. See, some of y'all trying to build a relationship with people that don't like you and on purpose not trying to like you. Does that make sense? No. Some of you are trying to build Amazon, man. You know that. You know that, dog. That's why I'm talking crazy. You know how to get the book. Stop pretending. But here's the thing. And actually, it's going to be on here soon because I just got approved for my guy right here, Kirk Kerwin Boulders. We were supposed to build a hotel together. Hey, Kerwin, how you doing? He's a big time artist in Guyana. We never got an opportunity, but Kerwin, I need to talk to you because I just got a project from Exxon out there. I might need some labor. But anyway, maybe I shouldn't be saying that online. Here's my point. Other people aren't the provokers of your anxiety. They're not. So I had to rebuild my fence. First of all, I had to start hanging around people that like me. I had to start hanging around people that like. Most of you hang around people that really don't like you. And see, that's okay in the social setting. That's even okay in a business setting. But in your personal life, you can't be around people that don't like you. See, even the vibration in those thoughts are negative to you. You begin to see the side looks, you're like, why that person don't like me? They with me every day. Yeah, but they still don't like you. You got moms that are jealous. You got fathers that are jealous of their sons. You got brothers that are jealous. You got cousins that don't like other cousins. All of that. But every time they come to town, hey, man, I'm in town. I don't even answer those calls anymore. Let me tell you something. Do you know how you know if you're a needy person? If anyone disrespects you that you know, That's because you're needy. They believe that they are a necessity in your life. They believe that they are a necessity in your life. Nobody's a necessity in my life. Everybody's replaceable. Or you don't even have to be replaceable. I just don't want you to be a negative piece of my puzzle, a piece of my fence. You got to go. Another thing, you don't want to be around people. You don't want to be around people that don't really believe in you. You don't want to be around people that don't believe in you. I have some people that are close in my life that don't believe in me. Maybe they should have reason not to believe in me, but I still don't hang around. You understand? See, when I say that, you guys got to know this. Ever since I started to dream, I've always had big dreams. Do you understand? Sometimes I'm around people that don't even understand how big my dreams are. I remember this guy telling me, um, this guy used to be a president of a bunch of semi-pro football teams, and he's the one that got us some work on the Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Now, this was years ago. This isn't the new renovation. This is an old renovation. This is when they weren't winning, okay? And his name is Reggie. Reggie actually introduced me to Neil Smith. Some of y'all too young to even remember Neil. But in any event, Reggie had a project. And he said, Juan, I need your help on this project. And, this. And I told him, I said, that's too big, man. And this will tell you what people think about you, right? He said to me, what? I said, that's too big. He said, I've never heard you say that. He said, every project I've ever called you about, you're like, okay, well, let's put it together. I've never heard you say anything was too big. See, you don't realize it, but people will tell you who you really are. You want to be around people that tell you shit like that about you. Okay? Now, I'm older now. And when he talked to me, this was about 3 or 4 years ago. This was when my son was playing high school football. So, yeah, about 3 or 4 years ago. About 4 years ago. And, yeah, you want to be around people that talk to you about that, like that. You want to be around people that think of you highly. There is no project too big for me. There's no project too big for me. But since I own my own company outright now, there are things that are too big for my company portfolio because it's my money now. Do you understand? So I have to view things from a different lens. I see things from portfolio perspective now. But my point, for those you've had trauma in your life and had negatives take place in your life, it's time for you to rebuild your fence. You're not protected. Your fence isn't strong enough. You got people around you that are broken. You don't need broken people. You're broken. You need people that can build you up. It's time for you to be selfish. It's time for you to build you up. You can't help nobody else if you're not strong. You can't give anybody peace if you don't have it. Some of you ladies are marrying men and you don't have peace. You know you don't have peace. You just cute. Don't marry no man if you don't have peace, because a man ain't supposed to bring you no peace. He's supposed to be part of your peace evolution. But you got to have the right fence. And it takes more than one person. It takes several people. But you need to understand that there's different pieces of the fence. There are parts of a gate or a fence that are stronger than others. The strongest part of the fence is the pieces that are closest to the house and the opening of the door. Not everybody is the door. Not everybody's the door. So You don't want those kind of people close to you. I mean, they're not close to you. You want the strongest people close to you. You want the strongest people close to you. Someone was asking me the other day about my books, and again, they're going to be. I'm going to be advertising it on TikTok soon too. And a couple of people pissed me off. I had to tell them. I put together a gathering, and I had to tell them. I said, "Man, if you think I'm trying to get you to buy this book to make me money, you crazy." I said, "Think about this. Books don't make you money. Books let people know who you are." Can you guys understand that? Books don't make you money. Books. If I sold 10,000 books, okay, that'd probably be a couple of $100,000. That's not going to change my life. But what's in it can change yours. Literally. I don't have to be famous to be smart. I don't have to be famous to be successful, which is part of the book too. But what's in both of these books can change everybody on here listening to your life. It can change it psychologically. It can change you financially. It can make you more judicious. It's definitely going to make you more purposed. See, can I tell y'all something? Until me, y'all didn't even know purpose was something that didn't fall out the sky God gave you. Let me explain something to you. If God has to give you purpose, that means you're a tool. Now, I need you to think about, even y'all Bible thumpers, think about what I just said. Everybody that in the Bible that God gave purpose was a tool. Everybody. If you're a child of God, you're not a tool. You choose your purpose, and He helps you with it. When I start teaching my mentees that, it changed their life like that. Every one of them knew what they're supposed to be doing because they knew whatever they were doing, God was going to help them do it. A lot of you young people feel empty because you're like, man, I ain't got I hadn't found, choose one. I can guarantee you God is who He says He is. But I guarantee the people that are teaching y'all don't want y'all to move. They don't. I do. Purpose is what you choose. I'll tell you about me. When I was 24 years old, I just chose something. And if you guys want to know, was it successful immediately? Hell no. It took 20 years. See, some of y'all think, oh, it took 3 years. It took 4 years. No, it took 20. You wondering why people pretend like they successful? Because it take long. One of the first things that can help you be successful, this is something I'm gonna give y'all for free. Stop talking about people. Stop talking about anybody else. Some of you say, in my life, I don't talk about people. Okay, well, stop talking about people online. Do you guys know what I do? Do you know what I do when I see a celebrity? And I always look for the same things when I'm scrolling through TikTok. Whenever I see a celebrity, I just do this. Like, I don't care who it is. I just do this. Because the celebrity's life, first of all, they get paid for being fake. But you think some of the stuff they say real. I don't care about anybody that I don't know and don't care about me. I'm talking to grown now. Y'all don't want to hear how grown people conduct themselves. Some of y'all go to y'all grandparents' house or your parents' house and say, "My mama don't want me at the house no more." Exactly. You grown. Why do I need to see you every day? I got children that I love more than anything on this planet. But until they ready to conduct themselves with respect, they can't come nowhere near me, and I don't give a fuck what nobody say about it. I've been without peace long enough in my life. I will not live one more moment without peace. I don't care if you have my genetics. I don't care about anything. Peace is more important, young people, than anything. Remember that. See, you think because you can tolerate turbulence, it's good. It's not. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Peace isn't without its own turmoil. Think about it. We got hurricanes, we got rain, snow, all this stuff, right? But they're part of a natural evolution. We have a natural evolution of the soul. But inviting turbulence in your life is sadistic and suicidal. Do not invite turbulence in your life. I don't care who you are. That's your this, that's your mama, that's your man. Hey, let her handle it. Because until she ready to be cool, she can't come over here. I'm just telling you. There's rules over here. And you don't change internally overnight. It take a minute. All right, guys. Time me to get to work. I will talk to you guys again tonight at 6:30. Have a good evening. Tonight, I'm going to be discussing in depth what I call the community REIT. So I'd like all of you to be there if you can. Have a good evening. Life Changers on Amazon.